Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Something Cafe. You might be asking yourself, why am I sporting a firearm right now? This is a very deadly, lethal weapon that I'm holding right now. This is what we call the WTR, the WTR Spray and Pray Mark II version 1. I use this on, yeah, you see it, don't you? Looking right down the gun of my barrel. For those of you listening on audio, it is a spray bottle. I do not own a gun, nor do I think I'll ever want to. I have the spray bottle in my hand because Pythagoras, damn it, Larry or Lars, I named both of my cats such similar names. I just end up calling them both of their names. I have this because Pythagoras could not have predicted this outcome, but I have these two new little chairs, right? I got it from Facebook Marketplace. They're all right. I paid a little bit more than what I should have paid them for, but the people were really nice, and it was a very easy, stop and go cash chairs, It was a pleasant experience. She was hot, had a husband. But I got these new chairs for the show because, God forbid, I want to have a professional show that I'm doing out of my studio apartment that will, hopefully, as I look back on this, and there's a roach. There's a roach. There's a roach. It's a flying roach. No. No, 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 no. I'm trying not. I'm trying not to. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, shit, it flies. Oh, oh my gosh. Abort episode. Oh, that shit flies. That shit. Oh, what do I do? Oh, that shit flies. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. What do I do? 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 I have to call my mom. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh no. Oh my gosh. Mom. Can you FaceTime? There's a flying roach. A flying roach, Mom, and I'm recording an episode right now. I am FaceTiming you. I don't know what to do. It's on the other side of the room. It's in the bedroom. But I saw it fly. What do I do? Mom, it's a roach. No. Oh, I want to leave. We're breaking the lease. We're Mom, we're breaking the lease. No. Oh my gosh, it flies. Oh. This is exclusive footage. We are on the scene right now. The war zone's not looking good. I have a vacuum cleaner, and the roach has the territory. It's not an insect, it's a flying cockroach. Not underplay this. Just pray for me, damn it. Where is Lars? If I see Lars sleeping or pooping on himself, get back to work. There is an intruder on the premises. Yes, I'm sweating. Come on. It's showtime. It's showtime. Come here. Come here. Lars, good boy, Lars. Come here. Bring him to me. Bring him. Where is he? Where'd he go, damn it? Lars, you lost sight of him, didn't you? Larry, this is no time to be licking your own butt. Yeah! Woo! Going to church tomorrow. Look at him. Larry, you are useless. Larry did nothing but lick his own butt. Ladies and gentlemen, we have won the war. God bless America. God bless the troops. And gentlemen, start your engines. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle that had just been fought and won was a battle that lacked confidence. It lacked steam. But the one thing it didn't lack, the two things it didn't lack were a heart and a vacuum cleaner. I don't know how much Evan's going to leave in there, but you have just witnessed probably one of my most weakest moments, but one of my bravest victories. That was a new Pokemon I've never encountered. I've encountered many cockroaches in my life. I've encountered 2 in here in the house. I've encountered many outside. I've encountered tens of 20s of cockroaches at my old apartment, but that was a beast I've never fought before. But Winston Churchill once said, "Man doth not grieve at the loss of the battle, but they doth grieve at the loss of a good vacuum cleaner, and that is why I doth not grieve noweth, because the vacuum cleaner won, and the cockroach didn't." And I told you, was it just 2 weeks ago, 2 episodes ago, I spotted a recon roach. And I knew it was a recon roach because it was one of the infantry. A squishy, if you've ever played Call of Duty. A squeaker. He was hiding behind one of my paintings. Frankly, I don't even know where that painting is anymore, which is more of a shock to me than it is to you. But God did not build me for easy battles. He built me for the hard ones, to make all other hard battles easy. The recon roach was a failure on their side. I won that one. But perhaps they gathered enough intel to send in the 1st Battalion. They have still not won, although for a second we all thought that they did win, including myself. I was ready to break the lease. But luckily I have a warrior on my side, and that warrior is Lars. Lars helped me gas out the cockroach, the flying little jelly bean, the little pinto bean of Satan with wings. And I've never encountered one with wings. That was a new one. That was, if you ran these shorts through a TSA item scanner, it would detect a little bit of urine. If I'm going to be completely honest with you. But the urine is dried up. My tears have dried up. I was sweating. I am not anymore. I have 2 fans on me now. I had FaceTime my mom. I have the dead. He is dead inside of my vacuum cleaner. I still have my vacuum cleaner out because after this episode, I'm going to take the lighter of which I use to light my candles, and I'm going to light it on fire in my mojeco, which is a type of stone bowl you use to make guacamole with. I'm going to light it on fire and chop it up into many pieces and put it down my garbage disposal. Just to send a message. It's not about winning. It's just about sending a message. So, we are back. We are grooving. We are rolling. I'm gonna take a sip. Maybe he was just trying to support his family. You ever think about that? Have you ever killed something and thought to yourself, maybe, who's the animal? Who's the animal now? Am I the animal? Am I the intruder? Am I the one invading his space? None of that matters. Because I'm the one with the vacuum, and he is not. And I'm the one sitting across from the vacuum, and he's the one sitting inside of the vacuum. I have confirmed that he is not moving. He is dead. At least, I can't imagine getting sucked into a vacuum might kill you. But he is definitely laying upside down in the vacuum. What I might do is turn the vacuum back on, take the hose, and maybe pour a little bit of bleach into it so it'll suffocate him or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll put him inside one of the candles and remove his oxygen. Do bugs need oxygen? Do bugs breathe? Do bugs breathe? I'm looking that up. Yes, insects do breathe oxygen, but they do so in a different way than humans. Instead of lungs, they have a system of tubes called tracheae that carry oxygen directly to their tissues. Oxygen enters their small openings called spiracles. All right, now we're just making things up. Called oxygen enters through small openings called spiracles along the sides of their bodies, and it diffuses the tracheal system to reach their cells. So this is all to say maybe we aren't so different. But the difference is a Shark brand pet hair vacuum cleaner. I'm going to turn this fan down now because I am getting a little chilly, actually. Oh, okay. Well, I don't even know where to go from there, brother. Shoot. I said I didn't have anything planned, but that was quite the situation. I'm trying not to cuss as much. My mom said, every time I listen to your podcast and you cuss, I just cringe. So, try not to cuss as much. Although there was one episode where I said the F word twice on purpose for Evan, the editor, to bleep out for comedic purposes, and he just didn't bleep it. He just looked over or something. So I just said it outwards twice, and Mom was like, that was a mistake of an episode, and you're horrible. I was like, well, yeah, that's, you know what? You have a point, because I was wanting Evan to bleep that one, and then he didn't. So, that's all right. Well, I just cussed there, but no, seriously, what do I do now? My grandparents also said that, hey, we haven't caught up with the podcast yet, but we're gonna start, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, oh no. I would love for my family to support me and listen to my podcast. I just don't know how much I want them to know about what I'm talking about. The cussing doesn't bother me that much because I don't think I have that bad of a mouth. It's really just for comedic reasons, or you know, or whatever. It's not like I'm cussing people out, but shoot, man. Lars is the real hero. You know what? Larry did nothing during that whole battle, but Lars won that for America, for sure. I'm wearing a Muhammad Ali shirt, but right now I think I should be wearing a Lars shirt because that brother succeeded. What do we got today, eh? What kind of exciting things do we got today? Top stories. CNN. CNN says Israel says it's targeted Hezbollah leader in strikes on Beirut to live up. That was I what? I couldn't even follow that English. It was like just a run-on sentence. Israel says it targeted Hezbollah leader in strikes on Beirut. Okay, that's interesting. Trump lists his grievance. Oh, this is from the AP News. Trump lists his grievances in a Wisconsin speech intended to link Harris to ... I don't know what the ... implies. Maybe linking Harris to the Ethernet, linking Harris to a Nintendo online account. CBS News says North Carolina's Asheville devastated after Helene's damage cuts power. Yeah. Well, I am a Florida resident, and Helene has done nothing to me. Lars is currently, or Larry's currently climbing up the back of this chair right now. I can feel it. At any moment, he's going to emerge out from behind me. We've got another one about Helene. AGC.com says, as Helene passes, residents in Buckhead emerge to scenes of destruction. Axios says, what to know about the vice presidential debate. Okay? And the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel says, watching area for development where Helene formed. Do they purposely put some of the most boring topics? I mean, seriously. They must put the most boring topics ever. If I look up news, there's a category that just says Trump. Let's check it out, eh? Trump has given her a giant opening. That sounds a little promiscuous, don't you think? Trump savages Kamala Harris in fiery Wisconsin speech. Okay? Trump's answer to Harris's border trip, calling her mentally disabled. All right. Trump arrives at Alabama-Georgia game to chants of USA 4 more years. It's kind of sweet of them. With your vote, Donald Trump stumps in Michigan with turnout machine. What kind of machine is he running? What kind of local news do we got, really? All right. I bet this is going to be exciting. Darian Mensah throws for 3 touchdowns in Tulane rout South Florida 45-10. Y'all are on the edge of your seat for that one. For Tampa Bay, Helene was the worst storm in a century. That sounds about right. Tampa is the punching bag of if every tropical or ocean storm was Muhammad Ali, then Tampa would be his favorite punching bag to train with. Like Tampa, it's probably the worst place to live. Like you will not survive. How can you help Hurricane Helene victims in Florida? Florida congressional candidate charged with threatening to kill primary ... Now that sounds juicy. Too bad I don't care. because it was probably something like, I'm gonna finna kill this election, and then they absolutely took it out of bounds. All right, so I was thinking about kind of like what we could talk about this episode after the whole battle we had just fought. And there's a universe that I am in love with. And I have not engaged in this universe for a while now. Frankly, because I've kind of played all of the games. Now, I have not played the first 3, but I have played the last 3, like 3.5, because there's like a mobile game. Fallout. Now, Fallout is probably one of my favorite universes of all time. Favorite games, favorite everything. But the thing is with Fallout is because there's, friends of mine know that I love, friends of mine know that I love Fallout. People ask me, have you watched the Fallout show? I tell them no. They say, you just haven't gotten around to it? I say no. They say, you don't even want to watch it. I say, yes. They say, why? I say, because I don't want it to ruin it for me. I love Fallout. Fallout is like a huge part of my childhood and a huge part of my life, and I do not want to watch a show about it, because it's like shows are so good at ruining like properties. Like look at the Halo TV show. The Witcher got kind of like I don't want to watch this cereal box show. Now, I have heard great things about it, but I don't want to. So I thought today's episode, I kind of want to geek out a bit, because I don't think I've actually really talked about like video games on this podcast yet video games are like huge for me. So I kind of wanted to dive into the Fallout lore with y'all, and go over some of the cool things I love about the universe and in the games. I hope you guys treat this episode as one that you kind of put on in the background, because I understand that not everyone's going to be interested in Fallout or what, because I mean, I'm going to do a lot of reading. But I think it's really interesting. I think it's a really intelligent story. A really intelligent story that they tell here, because it also relates to like real world incidents too, and I think that's just awesome. So I thought we would get into that, and then afterwards I'm gonna go into some of the cooler facts, which I'm getting chills about right now because I love it so much. But I'm gonna get into some of the cooler facts after. But I want to take you guys down the road of the Fallout lore, and just I want you to enjoy this story and really like think about it, because I think it's incredible. And let me tell you this, right? My love for Fallout, literally, I'm looking at a Fallout figure right now. My love for Fallout came out of nowhere. It was an accident, in fact. Me, my mom, my mother, my brother, and I were at Best Buy one day for something. And we were I was in like sixth grade. I was in sixth grade. And I think it was like, when you're young and you're like, I want a prize, you like, you're a snot swallowing gross little kid, and you're like, Mom, I want a prize for doing nothing, because all your mom does is spend money on you. And then you're in Best Buy and you're like, buy me a video game, But she was like, okay, like, what do you guys want? And I saw Fallout, and I've never even, I don't even think my mom knows this. I didn't even know what Fallout was. I don't even know why I wanted that game. Like, I literally had no clue what it was. It was like the special collector's edition, um, and like it was like like 100 something bucks. It was like you got you got Fallout 4, you got Fallout 3, you got a pair of socks, you got a cool poster, and then like a couple other knickknacks, and then like some DLC. Awesome. But I'm like, I've never even heard of Fallout before. I literally don't know why I wanted that game. I've never heard of it. And then for some reason I'm like, yeah, I want that one. I want the deluxe collector's edition of a game I've never even heard of. I seriously, I mean, if my mom knew that, and if I was my mom, I would have been pissed. I would have been like, why on earth did you want me to buy you this expensive collector's edition game of a game that you've never even heard of? But from then on, dude, like Fallout, yeah, awesome. So the Fallout universe is set in an alternative timeline where the world diverged after World War II. Technology progressed differently with a heavy focus on nuclear power, robotics, and retro futuristic technology. So basically, like, it, all of history was canon up until World War II. So even World War II was the same, but then it changed. Like after World War II, instead of going in the route that we went, where we swayed from nuclear technology, the Fallout world embraced it. While the world looked shiny and advanced, it was on the brink of disaster due to the over reliance of finite resources. In the mid 21st century, the world enters a resource crisis with oil and natural gas nearly depleted. The scarcity leads to massive global tensions, especially the United States and China. As China's energy needs grow, it invades Alaska in 2066 to seize its oil. The U.S. responds by annexing Canada and deploying troops in Alaska, sparking the Sino-American War, a prolonged conflict that drains resources even further. So, I'm not sure what annexing means, but yeah, as China's energy needs growth, it invades Alaska in 2066 to seize its oil, which is where we see our first not like where this is where we see our first fictional war. Like World War II happened in real life, obviously, but now in 2066, the Sino-American War, a prolonged conflict that drains resources even further. During this time, the U.S. governments began collaborating with private corporations like Vault Tech, which is very important. Remember Vault Tech, to build underground vaults, nuclear fallout shelters designed to house select groups of people in case of inevitable nuclear conflict. While many citizens believe these vaults are designed purely for protection, they are actually a part of a series of social experiments aimed at testing various human behaviors under extreme conditions. Each vault is designed with a unique experiment, often cruel or strange, to test how people react to specific controlled environments. And that's where a lot of interesting, really creative lore comes that I'll get into after we read this kind of synopsis. The tension between global superpowers eventually reaches a breaking point on October 23, 2077. The Great War begins. Within just 2 hours, a full-scale nuclear exchange takes place. So, October 23rd, 2077 is exactly 10 years after the Sino-American War. Let me take a drink. So, the Great War, important part, the Great War. The Great War begins, and within just 2 hours, a full-scale nuclear exchange takes place. Major cities across the globe are annihilated, and the world as it was known is destroyed. Civilization collapses almost instantly, and the survivors, those fortunate enough to be inside vaults or in remote areas, are left to pick up the pieces. After the bombs drop, the world becomes an irradiated wasteland filled with mutants, deadly creatures, and radiation. Those who were not inside the vaults either die from the fallout or transform into ghouls, heavily radiated humans who are effectively immortal but suffer from disfigurement and social rejection. The rise of factions and the rebuilding of society. So the bombs have dropped. Everyone in the vaults or had access to vaults are safe, but then the humans on the outside, now there are tons of creatures. It's like a total wasteland. That's the whole point, right? Fallout, right? And then, as you just heard, people get turned into ghouls. The ones who didn't die from the bombs or the fallout or anything else turn into ghouls. As the post-apocalyptic world emerges, new factions begin to form. One of the earliest is the Brotherhood of Steel, which is founded by Captain Roger Maxson, a U.S. military officer stationed at Mariposa Military Base. Maxson uncovers unethical experiments involving the Forced Evolutionary Virus, or the FEV, a pre-war bioengineering experiment designed to create super soldiers. Delusioned by the government, Maxson leads a rebellion, taking his troops and their advanced technology to form the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood's mission is to collect and preserve pre-war technology to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. So the Brotherhood of Steel is a huge part in this. Obviously, so it's founded by Maxson, right? Now, the FEV, Maxson uncovers unethical experiments involving the Forced Evolutionary Virus, the FEV, a pre-war bioengineering experiment designed to create super soldiers. So he didn't create the FEV or had anything to do with it. He just uncovers it, assuming that the FEV was being created by the government. This is when he divulges from the government and to create the Brotherhood of Steel, who then starts taking over all these weapons and stuff and like trying to have like a stranglehold of all the dangerous things, so no one else can create a faction as big as the Brotherhood of Steel. By 2161, so this would be almost 100 years after China invaded Alaska. By 2161, the world outside the vaults has evolved into a dangerous and chaotic landscape. The first Fallout game begins in Vault 13, where a malfunctioning water chip threatens the survival of the vault's residents. The Vault Dweller, the player's character, is sent into the wasteland to find a replacement chip. This journey leads to the Vault Dweller into conflict with the Master, a grotesque being who controls an army of super mutants created by the FEV. The Master's goal is to forcibly mutate humanity, believing it is the only way to survive the post-apocalyptic world. The Vault Dweller defeats the Master, but upon returning home, they are exiled from Vault 13 due to fears that they have been too influenced by the outside world. So that is the very first Fallout game. That game is just called Fallout, not Fallout 1, but Fallout. This is a top-down, almost like, yeah, it's a top-down RPG, turn-based RPG. Like, it's like super, super old school. I tried playing it, and it was so boring. Like, I really want to play it. I really do. I really want to play it and like try to beat it to say that I did. But man, it is just like not my kind of it. It really is like old school. But yeah, so that but that's when the first video game starts, right? In 2161. Where the first vault is the first game takes place in Vault 13, which is the first time in the games that we even hear about vaults, right? And it's a pretty simple story, right? they have a malfunctioning water chip, and you have to go out and get a new one and bring it back. But you also have to face the master, uh, who is like a really gross creature. Like he's like part computer, part man, really gross. But this is when we bring up the FEV again, right? Where the FEV, the forced evolutionary virus, that's what creates the super mutants. So we have normal humans, right? And then we have ghouls, which are the people that got irradiated but are fine. Like they still act like human, but they're just disgusting. But then there's the super mutants who are affected by the FEV that are like really gross, scary, huge, muscular like monsters, right? So the main bad guy is the master, who's basically saying like, hey, look, like this is it. Like if we're gonna survive in this like wasteland, everyone has to be a super mutant. And like it says here, the Vault Dweller defeats the Master, but upon returning home, they are exiled from Vault 13 due to fears that they have been too influenced by the outside world, which is new to me because I've never played the game. So that's kind of cool story writing where it's not everything ends super happy, right? The rise of the Enclave in the new California Republic. Following the defeat of the Master, the Wasteland continues to evolve. Fallout 2 picks up decades later with The Chosen One, a descendant of the original Vault Dweller, the character you played in the first Fallout. A descendant of the original Vault Dweller, trying to save their village from drought. The Chosen One's journey brings them into contact with the Enclave, the remnants of the pre-war U.S. government. The Enclave is an elitist faction that views itself as the rightful ruler of America and plans to exterminate all impure humans, those affected by radiation or mutations, using a modified strain of the FEV. So the Enclave is just the government, just the new government. And it's cool that in Fallout 2, you are a descendant of the character that you played in the first Fallout. So in the first Fallout, you are just called the Vault Dweller. In this one, you're called the Chosen One. The Chosen One defeats the Enclave by destroying their oil rig base, but their presence persists in other parts of the world, most notably the Capital Wasteland, where Fallout 3 takes place. By this point, the New California Republic, NCR for short, a faction dedicated to restoring democracy and the rule of law, has risen to power in the West Coast. The NCR expands rapidly, but as it grows, it faces internal corruption, external threats, and resource shortages. Very interesting. So this is now Fallout 3. Fallout 3 takes place in the Capital Wasteland, and this is where we're introduced to the NCR. I have an NCR flag hung up in my bathroom right now. It's really cool. It says, so it's the Californian flag, but the bear on it has two heads, and it says New California Republic. So that's pretty cool. So Fallout 3 in the Capital Wasteland. In Fallout 3, set in the ruins of Washington, D.C., the player assumes the role of the Lone Wanderer. So we had the Vault Dweller, the Chosen One. Now we have the Lone Wanderer. The player assumes the role of the Lone Wanderer who leaves Vault 101 in search of their father, James. James was working in search of their father, James. James was working on Project Purity, a massive pre-war water purification system designed to provide clean, radiation-free water to the Capital Wasteland. The Lone Wanderer eventually learns that the Enclave, under the leadership of President John Henry Eden, has resurfaced and intends to use Project Purity to further its goals of controlling the wasteland and purging irradiated humans. The Lone Wanderer sides with the Brotherhood of Steel, which has taken on a more humanitarian mission compared to its West Coast counterpart, the West Coast counterpart being the NCR. Together they defeat the Enclave, and Project Purity is activated, providing clean water to the region. So this is interesting, right? Like all three games so far, like the overlying story is just like getting clean water, which makes sense. But it's like, you know, really interesting. Everything that happens in the games is super interesting, but it all has to do with water. Now, something cool about Fallout 3 is that Fallout 1, Fallout 2, then there was a third game that wasn't, it's not like part of this line, but it's still Fallout. It's called Fallout Tactics. So those first three games, Fallout Tactics is like Fallout 2.5, like Lion King 3.25 or whatever it's called, or like 3.5. I don't know, but those three games are like top-down turn-based RPG games. Fallout 3 is the first first-person shooter game in the lineup. So like that's pretty awesome. That like this whole time it's been this top-down old school games, like turn-based RPG, World of Warcraft, but now it's like Fallout 3 is the first like first-person shooter game where you're actually looking through the perspective of the player, like any Call of Duty game would be. So that is pretty cool. So it sounds like it sounds like the Brotherhood of Steel and you, the Lone Wanderer from Vault 101, take down the Enclave, and Project Purity is good. Now, this is now we're getting into the story of Fallout New Vegas, which is the Fallout after Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas is probably the best Fallout game. It is incredible. It doesn't look as good as like Fallout 4 and like Fallout 76 and things like that, obviously because it's older, but dude, it is so it is truly the best one. So let's get into it. Fallout New Vegas and the struggle for the Hoover Dam. In the Mojave Wasteland, Fallout New Vegas takes place around the critical region of the Hoover Dam, which supplies power and water to the area. The Courier, the player's character. So you are the Courier now. That is your. As you might have noticed, every game the character in which you are playing, they have a name, a title, a goal, whatever, right? The Courier, the player's character, is caught in a three-way struggle between the NCR, the Caesar's Legion, and Mr. House, a pre-war businessman who controls New Vegas. The NCR seeks to bring law and order to the Mojave Desert, while Caesar's Legion, a brutal autocratic society, seeks to conquer and enslave the region. Mr. House aims to maintain his control of New Vegas and keeps both factions out. So we have the NCR, who just wants to bring law and order to the Mojave. Caesar's Legion just want to conquer it and enslave the region. And Mr. House is the big Mr. Moneybags, who controls New Vegas, which, as you can believe, is just Las Vegas, but after all the bombs and everything. And he just wants to keep both of the factions out. The Courier plays a pivotal role in determining the future of the Mojave, deciding whether to support the NCR, Caesar's Legion, Mr. House, or take control of New Vegas for themselves. The fate of the region hinges on who controls the Hoover Dam, one of the most important resources in the wasteland. So in this game, because I actually played this one, you have a choice, and everything you do in the game matters, and that's what's really cool about it. You have to really decide on what you want to do. I forget what I did, but I think I sided with the NCR because they were like the good, the good guys. So now we come to Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 is set in the Commonwealth, a region around Boston. The player, known as the sole survivor, awakens from cryogenic sleep in Vault 111, only to discover that their spouse has been murdered and their child has been kidnapped. The sole survivor begins embroiled in the conflict between the Institute, a shady group of scientists who create synths, artificial humans, and various factions, including the Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, and the Minutemen. So this is the game that I started with. This is the game that Mom got me in that Best Buy, however so many years ago. This was Fallout 4. And what a game. People say Fallout 4 is the worst one. I really don't know how. I think they're just complaining because it wasn't as good as it wasn't as good as Fallout New Vegas. Okay. Cry me a literal river, because it's like, okay, it's not as good, but it's still awesome. But this one is really cool. So yeah, so the sole survivor becomes embroiled in the conflicts between so we have the Institute, Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, and the Minutemen. So we have 4 factions there. The previous game we had 3? The NCR, Caesar's Legion, and Mr. House. Oh, and then you could just take it over yourself. So 4 too. The Institute believes that synths represent the future of humanity. Again, synths are like these robots, right? The Institute believes that synths represent the future of humanity, while the Brotherhood of Steel views them as an existential threat. The Railroad fights to free synths, believing they are sentient beings deriving of rights, and the Minutemen aim to protect the people of the Commonwealth and rebuild society. The sole survivor must choose which faction to support, shaping the future of the Commonwealth in the process. So here we go again, right? Do you side with the Brotherhood of Steel, the Railroad, the Institute, or the Minutemen? I sided with the Brotherhood of Steel because they're awesome. They've got cool guns and cool helicopters and stuff. The Railroad was literally like a faction hid out in like sewers, wasn't really anything special. The Institute is cool, but again, like, they're the bad guys, so I'm not gonna side with them. And the Minutemen, again, the Institute believes that the synths represent the future of humanity. The Brotherhood of Steel disagrees and thinks that they are a threat. The Railroad fights to free synths, but it's like, so the Railroad and the Institute are the same thing. And then the Minutemen aim to protect the people of the Commonwealth and rebuild society. So mainly it's the Institute and the Brotherhood of Steel. The Railroad is on the Institute side, and the Minutemen are on the Brotherhood of Steel side. So you, the sole survivor, must choose which faction to support, shaping the future of the Commonwealth. Now, something that they didn't say in this is that there's a very cool twist. So the game Fallout 4 starts where it is pre-bombs. So you and your wife and your kid are like all happy, you're having breakfast, you're watching the news, and all of a sudden the bombs start to drop. And you and your wife and your kid are running towards the Vault 111. You are a veteran, so you have access to the Vault with your family. You're running to the Vault. The bombs are dropping. It's really scary because in the game you have to like push people aside, and like the person, like the soldier letting people in, or like they look at your ID. They're like, okay, you're good to go, you can come in. But then there's people behind you with like kids like screaming and yelling, and like it's like really intense. And you go in there, they put everyone into this like cryogenic sleep. So yeah, you all freeze, and then you are asleep for like 100. Whoa, it was like It was like a couple hundred years. And but in the middle of it, the cryogenic sleep shuts down, and these bad guys come down and are like trying to like loot, and they look in your pod and they think you're dead, but then they look in your wife's pod and they see her holding the kid. And since the cryogenic sleep had been shut down, the baby's crying. So they open up the pod, shank, they kill your wife, they take your kid, but then they turn it back on. So then you have to wait. You're asleep for like another 100 years. You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to go find my wife and my kid. They're probably not even alive anymore. Well, actually, not your wife, because your wife is dead. You watched her die. You have to find your kid. You play the whole game, and guess what? This is the coolest twist, the coolest twist ever. You play the whole game, hours and 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 hours of gameplay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You finally face the Institute face to face. You infiltrate their base. You're killing these synths, and you meet the head of the Institute, the master, the guy who is in charge of the Institute. He is the boss. He's the one who started it all. And he looks at you and he says, "Hey, Dad." And you realize that this 96-year-old man, you yourself are like 50, 40, and this 96-year-old man is your son. Because when they stole him, he grew up and then started the Institute. You went back into cryogenic sleep, so you stayed 40. Well, your son was aging, so now your son is like 40 years older than you are. Like, come on. That's awesome. That is freaking sweet. Like, that was such an awesome plot twist. So your son is the boss of the Institute, and he's like 40 years older than you when he shouldn't be, because that's not how it works. And you have to decide, like, do I kill my own son, who I've been looking for this entire time, but now is like 40 years older than me and is the one who caused all of this? Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good, dude. So now we get into Fallout 76 and the early Vault experiments. So, it didn't say when Fallout 4 took place, but Fallout 76 is set in Appalachia and takes place much, much earlier than the other games in 2102, just 25 years after the bombs fell. So, 25 years after the bombs fell. That is like, again, it said that this game takes place before even Fallout 1. Like, before the water chip, before the master, before all of this stuff, right? The player is a resident of of Vault 76, one of the first vaults to open. Unlike the other vaults, Vault 76 was not part of any any experiment and was designed to help rebuild America. The players emerge into a relatively untouched region and must face the environmental hazards of the post-nuclear world, including mutated creatures and the mysterious Scorched Plague. Now, the Scorched Plague was weird because it almost felt like it was a gimmick that they had to add to make it new, because the Scorched Plague wasn't anything in the other games. This game took place before all of these games, but we've never heard of the Scorched Plague in any of the games that took place afterwards. Fallout 76 is the most disliked game out of the entire series. Rightfully so. They messed it up, and I hope I really hope a new one comes out soon. I really hope they need to avenge themselves. But Fallout 76 is a live service game, unfortunately, which means it's multiplayer. It has live updates, it has events, it has this, has that. No other Fallout game has this. All the other Fallout games are perfect. It is single player. You cannot play with anybody else. There is no online things. There are no live events. It is just the game itself. That's it. That's just how it should be. And damn it, they ruined it by making it online. Is it a cool gimmick? Sure. But I can tell you right now, it is the only reason why they won't be making one anytime soon. Because why would they make another one when they can just keep updating this stupid one and add? Gosh, So, ongoing themes in the Fallout universe. So throughout the Fallout series, one theme remains consistent: war never changes. Despite the collapse of civilization, humanity continues to fight over resources, power, and technology. Various factions rise and fall, each believing they have the right to shape the future of the wasteland. Whether it's the NCR attempting to destroy democracy, the Brotherhood of Steel hoarding technology, the Enclave seeking to purify the world, or synths representing a new frontier in human evolution, the struggles for control and survival persist. In the Fallout world, the past continues to haunt the future, as the remnants of pre-war governments, corporations, and ideologies clash with the new realities of a post-nuclear war. The wasteland is a harsh and unforgiving place, but it is also a testament to the resilience of humanity. No matter how much the world changes, the fundamental conflicts over survival, power, and control remain the same, because war never changes. And that's why I love the Fallout universe. I love it. I love the Fallout world. I love everything about it. I love, it's just awesome. The Fallout universe is great. I am probably gonna play Fallout 3 after. So right now I'm going through all of the Borderlands games. Super fun. I'm on Borderlands 2 right now. I'm gonna go through all of those, but then I'm probably gonna hit Fallout 3. Yeah, wow. I mean, what a great series. But I'm gonna finish the Borderlands games. Hopefully by the time I finish them, because it's gonna take me a bit. A new Fallout will be out. Hopefully, I wish. Fallout 76 is such a freaking pile of crap. But I wanna go into some of the cool vault experiments that they went into. So here are some of the most interesting vaults and their associated experiments in the Fallout universe. What does that mean? So not every vault had the same idea. And not every vault was just like, okay, here's a vault to save people and to keep them safe until we can go outside again. Like, every vault had a purpose, and some were really messed up and some were pretty general. Vault 76, West Virginia, from Fallout 76. The experiment was designed as a control vault. It was meant to house residents for 20 years before opening to help rebuild society post-apocalypse. Unlike other vaults, its inhabitants were not part of an experiment. So this was the control vault. Nothing crazy, nothing weird. It was purely just, hey guys, we're in here 20 years more and we're going to go back outside to rebuild America, right? Vault 111, which is from Fallout 4, location Massachusetts. Experiment. The residents were placed in cryogenic stasis for an indeterminate period. The vault was intended to be a control group for research on the effects of cryogenic freezing. The sole survivor emerges after 200 years. So there's the number, 200. 200. So Vault 76 was only 20 years after, right? They were meant to rebuild America. In Fallout 4, you play the game, and it was 200 years after. Not like 200 years after this all started. It was 200 years after they went into the vault and they got froze. 200 years, dude. That's awesome. Vault 13, location, Florida. This vault's primary goal was to test the long-term effects of isolation. The residents were not allowed to leave for 200 years, and it was equipped with a water chip that ultimately failed, prompting the vault dweller for a replacement. Fallout 1. Vault 2, location, California. This vault was designed for a select group of scientists to explore the effects of enhanced environmental conditions. It featured a hydroponic farm, but the experiment went awry due to radiation exposure, leading the inhabitants to become ghouls. Vault 5, location California. Experiment. The inhabitants were subjected to a controlled social experiment where the male population was kept in an all-female environment. The goal was to observe the effects of isolation and social dynamics. So I did not follow that at all. The inhabitants were subjected to a controlled where the male population was kept. So I'm guessing that's I think that's worded incorrectly. I think because I've heard of this one. I think it was that there was only one male and like 99 females. The inhabitants, because this says subject to a controlled social experiment where the male population was kept in an all-female environment. To say male population implies that there was more than one. I think there was only one. I wouldn't hate that. Vault 8, location California. Designed to explore the effects of a limited gene pool, this vault's inhabitants were primarily of a single family. The vault opened successfully and contributed to the founding of the NCR. So a little bit of incest going on. Vault 12, location California. This vault had a faulty door that failed to close, exposing its inhabitants to high radiation levels. Many residents became ghouls as a result, and the vault was abandoned. This led to the study of the ghoulification process. So this was on purpose. The faulty door was on purpose. Vault 16, location California. The experiment. This vault focused on gender dynamics, housing 100 women and 10 men. The imbalance was meant to observe the social structures that would form, but it led to violence and chaos. So what the heck is the difference between the other one? Where the male population... So the other vault, the inhabitants were subject to a controlled social experiment where the male population was kept in an all-female environment. What the heck does that mean? They were surrounded by tampons and purses and feelings and sex and the TV show Sex in the City. I don't understand that one, but this one is 100 women and 10 men. It led to violence and chaos. Interesting. Vault 21, location Nevada. Experiment. Based on the concept of chance and luck, Vault 21's inhabitants were governed by games of chance. Decisions about food, resource, and leadership were made via games, leading to unique social dynamics. Vault 25, California. Residents were subjected to psychological testing, with their mental states monitored continuously. This led to severe paranoia among inhabitants, and it resulted in violence and eventual abandonment. Vault 42, location California. Experiment. Residents of Vault 42 were provided with various forms of media, books, movies, etc., on conspiracies and secrets, leading to rampant paranoia and eventual conflict among inhabitants. So basically, this one was they took the news crew from CNN and the news crew from Fox News and put them in a vault. Vault 63. This vault was designed to house members of a single family line with the intention of creating a genetically superior population. However, the social structure collapsed under the strain of the interfamily relationships. Incest. And Vault 69, location California. This vault contained a significant imbalance of females and males. The exact numbers are not fully confirmed, leading to a series of unique social experiments regarding reproduction and mating behavior. I know there are a few... those weren't that interesting. I know there were a few more that were super interesting. Vault 34 is known for its unique experiment involving puppets. The vault was designed to test the psychological effect of extreme isolation on its inhabitants. To cope with psychological stress, the residents created life-size puppets. The vault's inhabitants became quickly obsessed with these puppets, creating elaborate social dynamics around them. This led to a decline in their mental health as they started to prefer the company of the puppets over real humans. Eventually, this obsession turned dark, and the residents began to see the puppets as actual companions or even as their leaders. The consequences of this experiment are reflected in the eerie environment of Vault 34, where the remnants of these interactions can be found, highlighting the psychological toll of isolation and the length to which people will go to find companionship. Vault 27, let's see. Vault 27 housed a group of residents who were subjected to an unusual experiment. As part of the test, a cougar was introduced into the vault to observe how the inhabitants would react to a predatory threat in a confined space. The presence of the cougar created panic among the vault's inhabitants. Over time, the residents turned against each other as fear and paranoia spread, leading to violence and chaos. The cougar ultimately became a catalyst for the breakdown of social order within the vault. The survivors, if any, were left traumatized by their experience. The vault's history serves as a grim reminder of the psychological effect of fear and the potential for societal collapse in stressful situations. The remnants of this experiment can be found in the lore surrounding Vault 27, showcasing how even a single predatory animal can have a catastrophic effect on human behavior in a closed environment. How cool is that, hey? Let's see, in Vault 29, the primary experiment here was that only children under 15 were to be accepted, with their parents going into different vaults, effectively breaking up their families forever. Not much is known about the success of this experiment, though. The inhumanity of dividing up families for scientific games should be obvious to most. Wow. Yeah, there are just a lot of really cool. There's just a lot of really awesome stories, guys. Like, I freaking love this whole universe. There's a lot of cool stuff to kind of get into. There's a lot of really cool creatures too. Like some of the creatures, like you have like death claws, which are like these giant, like it's a fearsome predator and one of the most iconic creatures in the Fallout series. Death claws are mutated versions of the Jackson's chameleon. They are incredibly fast and strong, making them a significant threat in the wasteland. Super mutants. Resulting from exposure to the FEV, super mutants are larger, stronger, and more often aggressive than humans. They can be found throughout the various Fallout games, often as antagonists. Ghouls. Humans who have been heavily irradiated. Ghouls are characterized by the decayed appearance and are often immortal. Some retain their intelligence, while others become feral and aggressive. Rad roaches, which I just encountered a rad roach about an hour ago. Mutated cockroaches. They are the first enemy you are introduced to in most of the games. Very simple, very easy. Mole rat. Same thing. It's like a apocalyptic mole. The Yaoguai. These are mutated bears formerly found primarily in the capital wasteland and Appalachia. They are known for their aggressive behavior and high damage output. So, just giant bears. The Brahmin are just cows with two heads. Not even bad guys. They're used for mostly carrying stuff. Let's see what I'm skipping some, but there's some really cool ones. Rad scorpion, you could guess what that is. You have the Mirelurks, which are these are like really staple mutated apocalyptic versions of like crabs and things like that. Some really cool stuff. This was a fun little Fallout themed episode, eh? I'm happy you guys could join me for this one. We went through some very troubling times earlier, but you know what? You know what, guys? Screw it. You know what I mean? We are warriors. We are winners. We are destined for greatness. I have to pee so incredibly bad that every one of my toes is bouncing up and down to try to sustain my calmness and my demeanor. I want to thank you guys for joining me here at the Something Cafe podcast. I've been your host, Celestino Dooley. This has been episode 37. And like always, we've got links in the description, links in the bio. You guys, if you listen to the show and you want to enjoy more, there are literally links that you can tap with your pretty little fingers on the descriptions and the bios of these episodes to get more. We've got merch. We've got coffee mugs. We've got coffee mugs, as you can see right here. Check it out. In fact, the ones on the shop aren't even this one. The ones on the shop are with the updated logo. So yeah, guys, look. Thank you for joining me here at the Something Cafe. Thanks for grabbing a cup, and thanks to listening. Thanks for listening. Whatever. I need to come up with a better outro. I'll see you guys later. Play Fallout. Don't watch the show unless you want to be disappointed, but I don't know because I don't know if it's actually bad. But just play the games. Play Fallout New Vegas, whatever. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm gonna go pee and I'm gonna burn the cockroach I vacuumed up with my lighter. I love you. Goodbye.